Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. If you clicked on today's video, I hope that you are one of those up and becoming homemakers that's ready to take on the task of taking care of their home, taking care of their families. That is a very noble task to partake in, and it's not as looked upon as a great role nowadays, but I think it's a very necessary and part of why society has degraded so much over the last years. And maybe you're here because you've been here for a while, and maybe you want to learn some new tips on ways that you can help your home run more efficiently. So my name is Maryon. I am a mom to 10 children, birthed all 10 myself, one after the other. Been a stay-at-home for the majority of that time, and have enjoyed my moments of it. Sure, there's days it's been a little crazy. Sure, there's days it's been a little bit, but for the most part, I have tried to learn and grow and become a good manager of my home. Do I have it perfect? No. Do I have it all figured out still today? No. Still make mistakes, still do things. Did I start out with the kitchen like this? Not in the least. I started vlogging a few years, I would say a little while ago. It's been about 10 years that I've been doing that, and blogging. So there was a few pictures of what our houses looked like back then. You can go back to the ones, I don't even have ones in my previous houses, but they were not all fancier kitchens. They were just very humble places, but they worked. They were functional. And so I want to be able to share. It's a lot easier to share when you have the kitchen that looks aesthetic. It's easier to share when you have all the gizmos and gadgets. It's easy to share when you have people watching your kids, so you can film. And then I think social media nowadays, you see so much more and more where people are being called out for what they portray, what they show. And so for my channel, I've tried to show my life. I've tried to show real life. I don't really do set videos and like the latest trends. Some things I've done, like different, not really challenges, but more like series with other people, things like that. But to show that, you know what, this is life, what it is like for me as a mom of 10. And my kids have been in here over the years. They've been off because they grow up and they get older, and who wants to be on social media? Not everybody. There's a lot of nastiness out there, but for the most part, it's like I want to share what life is like for me. I want to encourage you as a homemaker or a woman in life, because life is hard, and this whole thing that we're watching here can make it 10 times worth. You can make it, watch it, and you can get discouraged because you're not able to do what everybody else does. You're like, how do people make their cheese crackers from scratch? How do people make all this stuff from scratch? How do they organize their house with all of those containers? And how do they go and buy 20 different lipsticks when they only wear one? How do people do these things? And so my hope in my channel, yes, over the years I've gotten things, I've lessened things, but it's all about being content right where you're at. It's okay to have those things. It's awesome. If you can get those things, then go ahead. But don't make it become part of your life where you feel like that is the only way that you're going to be happy with that. It's learning to be content with where you're at. And then, you know what, as life progresses, usually it gets a little easier, and you're usually able to save a little bit of money, and you're able to purchase and spend money on different things. So I want to encourage you through that. So there's probably not a lot of videos on Homemaking 101 anymore. There used to be classes on home economics and in school to teach you all the skills that you need to, function today. And there is a lot of YouTube videos on how to cook things and do things, and you can search on that. But is there one about, I want to create ones about making and creating a home. And it starts with you. It starts with you as the homemaker. You are going to be able to set the atmosphere in your home. You're going to be able to make or break how your home is. Yes, I understand you're going to have a spouse, and depending on their attitude and what they're doing, they'll bring either negativity or positivity and bring things to your home. I get that. But if you are home most of the time and you are there with your children, you get to be the one that sets up that atmosphere no matter what. No matter what kind of attitude your husband has, no matter what kind of financial situation, no matter what kind of things are going around, it's going to be you and how you are going to go in that role in your home. So I am going to encourage you to keep pressing on, to be encouraged, and to do it with a smile on your face. Did I always do it with a smile on my face? No, not at all. You can ask my kids, my older ones. I always tell them all the time, I'm like, I apologize. I'm sorry for things I've done. I'm sorry for not knowing. I'm sorry for doing this and not doing that. And I think as you grow as a parent, you change in your ways. That's a natural thing. For most people, they only have 1 or 2 kids. So you don't really see that progression very much. We've had 10, and we've had them over a big expanse of years. So the first ones we are a little bit more stricter with, and then you know, set different more rules. You have things a little bit different, and then as you grow, you change. You go, that's really not as important, because when you have those kids, you want to do everything you can to protect them, and you think if they do this, or this, they're going to turn the other way. So if you kind of protect them and keep them, you know, this way, then they're going to turn out okay. And then you get reality. Then you grow and you go through life and you go, okay, that's not the case, because you can do all that and your child can still go this way. You can do all that and you can go this way. That's why I have all those parenting books out there, how to parent your kids. And guess what? Written by people, sometimes they don't have kids. Sometimes they only have 1 or 2 kids. Do it. Have somebody that's got a bunch of kids that have done it and it's worked for all of them. And that's not the likelihood, because we are all created different in God's image, and we are all created different with minds and wills and emotions and attitudes and behaviors and all those things, and they're all going to respond differently to different things. And so as a parent, you learn, and then you go, okay, it's not as important, so you kind of change a few things that you've done. And I know for us, it's been the same thing. We have moved multiple times. We started out a little more conservative area, then we've moved to a little bit lesser, and now we're living in Florida, and it's just a whole lot different here too. So as life goes on, you're going to change things. And I've watched actually comedians, and they talk about that, how strict their parents were with the first ones when they weren't with the other ones. And I'm like, that is so true, and it's so true in life. So you're going to go through a natural progression. Don't feel like you have to be so rigid in your choices. You know, sit down with your spouse. Hopefully they're on board with you. If not, then you do your best that you can do without being, you know, standing up and being real mouthy and stuff with your spouse. And try to set some standards for your family, some things that you're going to do for them. And I'll give you a little warning here. Today's video is going to be a little bit long-winded, so get yourself a cup of coffee or tea, whatever it is, and just sit and listen. I promise to speak fast, because I'm a naturally fast talker, but you can also slow me down if I'm talking too fast. There's a couple settings on here that slow it down, so if I'm talking too fast, you can slow me down a little bit, but I just like to get the information out there. I'm not one, I feel like I've sat in enough different meetings and courses over my life where they just drag things on, and it's just long, and I'm like, okay, but you could have said all that in like this short amount of time. And so I've done that for me, so my videos are all fast talking. So anyways, okay, let's get on talking. So you set those ideals for your family as best that you can. You get to choose that little atmosphere and that attitude, how it's going to portray. So my series that I'm going to start over the next few weeks here is going to be based all on my large family mothering book that I've written over the years, and it's just more of bringing all the ideas and different aspects of my life that I feel have helped me. Is it perfect? No. Do I have it all figured out? Absolutely not. Take it, read it, get ideas from it and that you can do for your home. That is your key. It's not going to be to mimic perfectly, because, you know, I'm an imperfect human. You're an imperfect human. Your house is different than my house. It's going to work differently, but setting it up for what works for success for you. So today's video is going to be all about the kitchen. So kitchen is going to be today. We're going to work on the other aspects over the next few weeks. For us moms, the kitchen isn't a place where you just cook meals. It's going to be a place where you come together with your kids. You may do schooling in there with them. It's going to be the central hub where everybody kind of gathers together. You talk and have fellowship if you have friends over. And I found that I spend hours in my kitchen. Out of any area in my home, this is where I spend the majority of my time. There has been times when I had little ones and little kids where the kitchen, it was like my safe space. So in my kitchen, the way our house was set up, it was a very older home, like a 1960s, 50 home where it had a lot of rooms, hallways and rooms, you know, with alcoves and the rooms. So in my kitchen, I had a baby gate, boom, right across, so that no little toddlers, no little ones could come into my kitchen. For one, for safety, because it was a very small kitchen, and if something dropped, it's going to burn a baby, or it's going to, if there was, you know, anything were to happen, it's going to be dangerous. Now they had a whole access to the whole rest of the house where they were able to play freely. I was able to see them out of multiple places. We had a little picture window. We had a big, giant, wide open way so I could see in the living room and all that. But the baby gate was there, and it was just like my safe zone. So if the baby gate was down, it's like, so that was like your little zone of happiness. I don't have to do a baby gate anymore. My kids are free to come and go in the kitchen, but if you have little ones, you need a safe area. Set yourself up a gate so that you have a safe place, because a lot of accidents can happen in the kitchen very, very easily by burns or anything, dropping things, anything can happen. And just the fact of things that fall on the floor that you have to be careful of. So your zone is your kitchen. This is your safe space and where you're going to be at for majority of the time as a homemaker. Now this should be your fun zone, right? This is your best place to be. You're doing a whole lot here, but it can also feel like a battlefield because you're in it so much. It gets so messy. There's sometimes when the mail comes in, it gets sit right here, and there's paperwork everywhere. It's a place where the husband drops his stuff before he comes in and goes to the bedroom to change from home from work. And also in the morning, you like to come here and sit and have your cup of coffee in your kitchen to get going with your day. And sometimes you're sitting here, you look around, and you're like, oh my goodness, there's stuff everywhere. There's not, because I cleaned it up already, but you look around and you're like, oh, and it can get depressing. And I have been there, but over the years, I have found some simple things that have helped to make my kitchen work for me, not against me, and that's what I want to share in today's video to encourage you. And plus, as always, I'm going to give you a bunch of free printables. I'm going to give you the whole Large Family Mothering book. If you just follow this series, you can go back, you can download every single chapter from every single week. You're going to have all of it. The book's going to be for free. You can go buy it if you want. Don't spend your money. Get it for free. I'm going to give you, today's chapter is going to be on kitchen. So I wrote it based on when I had little ones at home. So now my kids are all adults. Not adults. Well, yeah, they are adults. They're teenagers. So they're at a different phase of life. But the whole information remains the same. It's the same as before, just a few tweaks here and there, as it is today. That's the beautiful thing. You can use these skills always in your day. So even if you are not a beginning homemaker and you've been doing this for quite some time, but you just feel like it's all a mess, it's still going to be for you. So you want to make your kitchen work for you, no matter how it looks. Let me show you the number one rule is don't complain. Don't complain what you have. You figure out what works for you. This kitchen is a large kitchen. It's a nice kitchen. It's great. Did it have everything I needed? No. It doesn't have as much space as I had on my old house. I had to get a couple pieces of furniture that don't really match in here after my refrigerator in my kitchen because I like it in here. My pantries are different than my old house. It's different. My beginning houses, did they work for me? No. I still remember the cabinets. It was a very small, like almost a galley kitchen, very small. And I had a large family. I had 10 kids at home. And there wasn't even enough space to put all your food in the kitchen. They're like the food that we ate and accumulated because there was a lot of us and I went shopping once a month. So it was crazy. But you know what I did? We had a basement, deep, dark basement, Michigan basement. And I went, you know what? I could store all my food down there. And I did. I took and I had a little pantry set up right in my basement, and you know what? There happened to be shelves down there. It worked out. I had shelves. If you don't have shelves, you're gonna figure something out. But I was able to organize all of my food, and it was great because I went down there every night and looked at my stash and went, okay, what am I gonna do for the next day, and take it upstairs. Was that convenient? No, but it worked for what I had. We also had different things in our homes over the years where just things didn't work. But you know what? You just gotta do what you can do in your home. I know my old kitchen in the mountains, it was not as functional as it was towards the end. So I was able to change a few things over the years, but the key was I had to be content and work with what I have at the time. This house, we've moved in, it's been almost 2 years. We still haven't done anything. We still haven't painted, we haven't done anything to this home yet, and that's okay. It's about being content. I just look at ways, okay, how can I work around it? I've gone through, if you watch my videos, you'll see I am moving stuff all the time. And people, in the beginning, they're like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. That sounds great, but the reality is I can't right now. I can't right now. So I'm not a builder. Maybe the financial things aren't right there because we're putting finances towards something else because living expenses and everything else. So it's one of those things where you can be a complaining wife. I can complain to my husband over and over and over, but you know what? It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do your marriage any good. You can ask him. I'm sure you can gently put out there like, hey, I'd really like a new fan in here because it's pretty warm in here. Could we put one up? Sure. But if he doesn't see that you can do it yet because you don't have the finances, don't complain. Just get yourself something else, open some windows up, or you know what, get yourself a box fan. It might not be as convenient, but figure out ways to work around it. I have found that there is always something you can do instead of being complaining and mopey. So that is gonna be your key. Change that attitude. Yes, I know you feel like you deserve everything. We all do. We all want our own ways, but you know what, in life, the best way, the most content way is to not be that complaining wife. You're gonna have a better marriage for one, and you're not gonna be that whiny wife that controls her husband. You don't wanna be that kind of controlling person. So that's my little tidbit as a wife. So don't be the controlling wife and don't be the complainer. Nothing wrong with putting information out there, but you know what? If they don't do it, they're not gonna do it. So then you just figure out something different, okay? That's my little advice to marriage. I have found that one of the best ways to making my kitchen work for me is finding the best functionality. Now in this home, I am still discovering it. There's times where I just a little bit ago started moving things around because I'm like, that doesn't work well for me. And my kids will do that. They're like, oh, Mom, you're moving again, moving stuff again. Where is this at? But it's all about finding the functionality and what works best for you. So these are some ways that I have discovered. Do I have it all figured out? No. I may move a few more things in my kitchen as life progresses and things change too, but these are just some tips that have helped me. Now, the one way that I've learned this is by when I'm making things. I knew this a long time ago, and I'd start making a meal for something or baking something, and I realized, oh, I forgot that. I had to run all the way over there and go get something for it. I had to run all the way over there and get something for that. So a good way to help your kitchen flow smoothly is setting it up for function and having zones. Now, you're not gonna be able to do everything perfectly. I can't do everything perfectly, but I wanna share how having things together in different zones will help you hugely. I discovered this because I was thinking about being, when I was a homemaker, well, I am a homemaker, but as a homemaker, I wanted to be the best homemaker I could be, the best I could be. So I would get all these old homemaking books and old housekeeping books and try to learn things. And one of the things they talked about was about, like, if you're a man, if you're at a job, you want to be the best that you can at your job, right? You want to excel at it, you want to do good at it, you want to do the best you can do. So why would you not want to do that in your home? Why would you not want to be the best manager of your home that you could be, right? I would. Why not? So one of those things was in work, when you're working at a job, they have people come in, consultants come in, and they watch your business run. They watch the day-to-day business run. They stare at your employees. They see how much time they spend doing things. They watch, and then they say, you know what? There's a lot of wasted time by you doing this, this, and this. So I think of in our kitchens, how much wasted time do you make in your kitchen that you can eliminate? And that helps by setting up zones in your kitchen. I'm gonna give you a free printable with 15 different zone ideas for your kitchen to set up. They may work for you, they may not work for you. So just go get that linked below and see, maybe it's something you can set up. One zone you can set up in your kitchen is your cooking zone, because where you cook, right? This is where you're at. Now, I don't have my ideal cooking zone in this house. If I were to build a house, I would know exactly what I wanted. But that's not my case, so I'm taking what I can and doing what I can do. So your cooking zone, you want everything within reach of your cooking zone. So in here, you want to have your pots and pans near this. Do I? No, my pots and pans are across the way. That is not functional and not the best. But for me, my cooking zones are not here. I would love to have all my pots and pans right here. Like, I would think put my little cookie sheets in the cabinets right next to it on the side, but these are not made to have cookie sheets in it. I guess the person that ate here before didn't really have a lot of cookie sheets, or as many as I do. I have a whole cabinet. So the shelves inside these cabinets are built in. You can't just pop them out. So I have to go in with a serious Sawzall and chop things out, which I'm not skilled to do that and just not ready to do that just yet. So I would have, if I were to have ideal kitchen, I'd have all my pans right here. I would have all my pots and pans near me in my work zone so that I can just grab them out and use them. As I'm doing this, I've set up my kitchen many times since we've lived here, and I was just looking, I'm like, I would have all my pots and pans like right here. I have a cupboard right here, and it has been rearranged multiple different cupboards over the time that we've lived here, and I'm like, I could put, it's the same cabinet. I was thinking, is that the same cabinet as I have over there? It is. I'm like, I could take all my pots and pans and put them in here. I just might do that. You have inspired me to change my cooking. But anyways, that is just one place. See, I'm doing this and I'm like, I could do that. So what else do you want to have in your cooking zone? You want to have all your utensils. Now, we have drawers, but we don't have drawers for everything. So I would either put them in a drawer right by here or get a crock. I've got this crock, and you know what? This is all my little mixing things that we use in the stove. It also has all my baking spoons and stuff. I kind of, for a little while, had another one over there where I was able to grab out just the baking ones, but it wasn't enough supplies that I felt I could leave something out. That's another option. So I just put them all in here and I just grab them out. That works for me, and it's nice because when they put away dishes, they kind of pop them in here. So having these all right here to cook with is good. I also keep my oil right here, and then salt and pepper is usually right here, but it's over here today because someone had moved it and it's stuck to the countertop. So we keep this all right here. I also keep my seasonings right here in a drawer right by it. This works good because it's right next to it for me. This is just what works in this home. You're going to have to set up what is best in your home. So I'm glad that I did this today, because I'm like, I think I'm going to move those pots and pans around. So next, if you watch my other videos, you're going to see those pots and pans moved. Another zone you can set up in your kitchen is a baking zone. In my Michigan house, I had a baking cupboard exclusively for baking things. And inside of it, I had my little hand mixer. I had my mixing bowls in there. I even had all of my little teaspoons and measuring cups in there. I had my little piece of cloth that I put over my bread pans. I had all my little bread pans because I make bread often. And then near that, we also kept our supplies for baking, like our flour, our baking powder, baking soda, sugars, that kind of thing. That was all in one zone. That just helps cut down on the amount of time you're running from here to there. I don't have that here. My mixer is back there. My pantry food, baking stuff is over there. My mixing bowls, I've got some right here. I've got some right here, and there's some over there. So I don't have that functionality like I used to have in one of my kitchens. But again, you work with what you can. If you can put it all in one, you go right ahead. That will make it function a whole lot brighter and better for your kitchen. These are just ideas for zones you can make in your home. You can also have a prep zone, dedicate an area where you're prepping veggies. Get yourself your chopping block, put that right near it, have your knives right by it, your colanders, your things that you're gonna rinse your vegetables in. Have that all in one zone for you to have easy access to it. And if you meal prep often, you can invest in a heavier duty wooden cutting board that you can just kind of wipe down and take care of over the years, and you can have it for quite some time. You can also have a cleaning zone in your kitchen. Yes, you can. Keep all your supplies in one area. For me, that is under my kitchen sink. Under my kitchen sink, I have my dish pods, I have my dish soap, I have my stainless steel cleaner, I have my extra bottle brushes, I have my sponges. I have all of that right in one area, so I know where it's at. My trash bags are right there as well. Put it all in one zone so it's easier to grab and use. When you have everything in its right place, when you go to cook, it just feels effortlessly because you don't have to go from corner to corner, from place to place to get what you need. And I feel that because when I do my baking days, which I do each Wednesday usually, I gotta go grab all my stuff from different corners and areas of my home. But you set yours up for how is going to be work for you. So go get that free printable. See if there's another area that's going to work. You're not going to be able to do all of them. You might be able to just do one, whatever works, but go see if there's a way that you can put everything together in one zone. Another part that's going to help your kitchen not feel like overwhelming is to declutter it. Now, if you're just starting out, you probably don't have this too much because you don't have a lot of stuff. But if you've been doing this for quite some time, you may have a lot of things over the years. I could declutter often. And so I know moving here, I decluttered and got rid of a lot, and then I moved here and I went, okay, now I'm into that phase of what am I using, what am I not using? So I'm able to declutter and get rid of a lot of things. So on our Tuesday videos, we are going through our entire house and decluttering it, so you can go back and go through the steps of decluttering, because it's one of those things where you go through and you think, do I need this? Is it work for me? Are we using it all the time? For us, there's things that we change and use all different times of life. It's like there's been a time where I used my I didn't really use my bread machine that much. I had it in the mountains, I kept it, didn't really use it very much, but I use that thing all the time here. And so then I've upgraded it to a dough mixer because that's something I use pretty much every single week. So the bread machine was able to pass it along to somebody. So go through and see, what do you use, what do you not use? Go through your drawers and see, do I need this, do I not? I know I have a pile of stuff that I have decluttered through and I'm keeping it and I'm like, do I even need that or do I not? And if you don't touch it, pass it along. It helps keep down on the clutter of your kitchen. Okay, another way that you can set up your kitchen for success is your pantry. Now, however that looks in your kitchen, if you don't have a great walk-in pantry like you see on YouTube videos that are all with nice plastic clear containers all labeled, don't be hard on yourself. I'm older and we have gone through a whole lot of things. I don't have that either, and that's okay. You do what you can. In this house, I do not have one designated area for food. In my mountain house, we had one big closet and it was mostly held all our food. And I was thankful that it had that. And then we built, like we had a hallway and I stored a lot of extra in our hallway closet because we didn't really use it for anything but a vacuum. But in this house, I have to keep my food in multiple places. So that has been evolving and changing based on what we are using and what we are having. So I'm finding, when we first moved in, it's like I had things one way. And then I moved them all around again because it was not working for us. And then I'm like, that's not working either. So I had to move everything again. So it might be a little evolution of things. So don't be hard on yourself if you set it up and you go, ugh, I don't like that. You got to do what's good. I've just organized my kitchen and put it together and I'm like, it's going to be a little bit of a change. And if you're not growing and changing things, then you're staying stuck. You want to change things and get things set. So your pantry, get yourself an area what works for you. This cabinet right here works for us for our cans. So this, I have our canned items in here, and I also keep our big containers of flour on the floor because it's a bigger, taller shelf. But I don't know what your kitchen looks like or how your things are. So we keep our canned items here. So when I put them in here, they're lined up. It's kind of hard for you to see over here, and it's not perfect. And we're also need to stock up on things, but try to keep the same, they're moved. Try to keep the same things in a line at least so that you can see. Hold on a second, I didn't set my pantry up before. But if you have the same ones in a row, like these are all, let's set it up like it should be. I'm smiling because I didn't set it up before, but for the most part, it's not bad. So like I have where we have things. So my tomato sauce is in one, tomato paste, crushed tomatoes, the sauce. Same thing with the beans, which were kind of moved around. Up here, we've got our sauces and things like that all lined up. So if you have them there, it's best because then you can see them. So I know for us, I had a lot up here and I was like out of sight, out of mind. I couldn't see them because they're way in the back. And then I went, oh, I forgot about such and such a thing. And so make sure that you can see everything. Put it in a labeled container. We also I call it my pasta cupboard. So in my pasta cupboard in the kitchen there, that's all of our pasta. So I keep all of our pasta. I keep our dried beans in there. That works for us over there. And then I also have a pantry on the side that has pull-out drawers. That's where I keep all of my baking stuff. So I have a dedicated baking pantry, I call it. So it has all our flours and sugars and any kind of things I would do for baking. If I buy cereal to make like puppy chow, I would keep it over there so that it doesn't get eaten as regular cereal. And then we also have cabinets over here in our butler's pantry. And up on top, guess what? That's where all the snacks go. So I keep all the snacks in that pantry. And so I have multiple ones because this is how this home is set up. So set your home up. If you don't have that designated area, it's okay. It's okay. You do what's best. Maybe you have a closet. Maybe you can get some real inexpensive shelves that you can put some stuff and organize them in there. But the key is don't be complaining for one. Don't complain that you don't have the Pinterest-worthy cabinets because you know what? Sometimes that is not real life for a lot of people. You see it, but it's not always what the majority of people are. Real life is not like that for everybody. So find what works. I have multiple ones. I'm older, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I still have multiple cabinets. So however it works for you to set it up. Now, kitchen isn't just about function, it's about how you feel when you are in that environment. So let's talk about how to create a place that is peaceful in your home. One way you can help your kitchen be more inviting is let the light in. Is your kitchen too dark? Is it dark when you walk in your kitchen? Change your light bulbs out. So most homes have those old school light bulbs, the yellow ones that you have in the ceiling. Change them out for the bright, whiter LED ones. It brightens up your kitchen, brings a little bit of life. When you walk in, it doesn't look so dull and so dreary in there. So just by changing out some simple light bulbs in your kitchen will make a world of difference. And if you got some windows, open those curtains up if it's not causing your electric bill to be high. Open those curtains up, open those blinds up to let that natural light in, just to bring that life into your kitchen. And if you can paint your kitchen, paint it a color that makes you feel happy. I really like my turquoise cabinets. When I saw this house, I was like, oh, I love those cabinet colors in my kitchen. Make it cheery and happy in your home. You're gonna be there all the time. You're gonna be functioning. Find what works best for you inside your home. So if you're painting, paint your cabinets. Those will be fine to do. When you're painting, use semi-gloss paint so that when you go to clean, it's a lot easier to wipe off than like a flat paint. Another thing that helps your home be a little bit more comfortable is give yourself a foam mat or just a rug where you're gonna be standing all the time. I stand right here by my stove often, so you know what, I have a rug right here. I have one over here where I'm standing next to my sink and my prep area where I'm filming, so I have one right there. Does it look like it's the best functionally? Let me show you. Would it be functional for everybody to have your kitchen have two rugs like that? Maybe not, but that works for me because I'm right here and I'm right there for the majority of the time. I'd put it all the way across there too, but this is what works for me because I found that when I'm cooking and doing things, sometimes my floor gets wet because something gets dropped. So this works to keep out any kind of water, so I'm not like slipping on the floor. So put a rug in your kitchen. That creates a little bit of something comfy and cozy while you're cooking. Another thing to do if you have high cabinets, which I do too, keep a step stool handy. Mine is around the corner in the hallway closet. I get it out if I have to climb up and do a lot of things, but for the most part, I just usually go get a little, like a long handled spoon, and I'll go up to my cabinet, I'll kind of pull it out to be able to grab it out easily. Just be careful, be careful, be careful. But if you can keep it in your kitchen, keep it in your kitchen. If I had the space, I'd keep it right here in my kitchen. Just something to be able to step up on easy and grab things. It just makes it so you don't have to climb up on those countertops. If you can do that, that's a good thing. You're young. But having that step stool helps too. And what's nice is if you can have a designated area for a cup of tea or coffee just for that 5-minute break during the day. I've got little bar stools over here, and it's just nice that I can take them, to sit and have a cup of coffee to enjoy before the day begins. Create a daily kitchen ritual. For me, I come out to my kitchen and the first thing I'll do is get a cup of coffee. And I may pick up my kitchen. For the most part, it's picked up, but there might be a few dishes here and there. But I pick up, wipe it down to be able to enjoy my cup of coffee in the morning, just to start out with a fresh space and a few minutes of quiet before the day begins. So create that little peaceful haven before your day begins. Okay, one thing that makes your kitchen feel overwhelming usually is due to clutter. The kitchen is the main hub of the home, and I feel like this area can get cluttered up real quick if you're not careful. So one way it can get cluttered real fast is from everybody's life. Kids come in, they drop their backpacks here. Husband comes in, he drops his keys and his wallet right there. Mail comes in, it gets dropped on your countertop. So having a designated area for things does help. Now, I know in our home we have a little table by our front door. Do you think that's where people drop things when they come in? No, not at all, not at all. You know where it gets dropped? In the kitchen. So over and over, I'll kind of grab it and I'll put it back over there. And I'm like, remember, your stuff's at the front door, your stuff's at the... You might do that a few times as a wife if your husband doesn't care. To say, oh, it's over there. It's over there. It's over there. Sometimes it works because it's just habit that they do. So putting those over there, remind them where they go. The same thing with the kids' backpacks. Have them have a place so they can put it. Otherwise, they're going to drop it here in your kitchen. And then when your mail comes in, we get our mail right away. I look at, my kids usually get the mail. And when they get it, we stand here right by the trash. I look at it. Most of it's junk mail. We throw it in the garbage. And then the other one that is stuff to keep, I have a little white holder there on my countertop. I usually set it right there, and then at the end of the day I grab it, take it upstairs to my office. So that way we're not keeping the garbage, we're not keeping anything we don't need, and only keeping what's necessary. Another thing that makes your kitchen feel cluttered is having too many appliances out. Now, it depends on your kitchen and what works for you. For myself, I don't like anything on my counters. I try to have nothing because I don't like seeing things on there, but I do have an extra table for my coffee, and I do have another butler's pantry where it stores all my other appliances. So this again determines how your kitchen is and what you can do to set it up. So you put out the appliances that you use frequently. Like we use our coffee every day. So our coffee pot is sitting out right here behind the camera. I have teenagers and they like the espresso machine, so they use that pretty much every day. That's there for them. We use a toast. The toaster is one that doesn't get used every day, but it's one that if I put it in a cupboard, to get it out, it's a little bit bigger, and the kids always knock the crumbs everywhere. So the toaster was one for me. I'm like, I do not like having a toaster out. So you know what I did? I bought myself a toaster cover. $10, $15 on Amazon to hide it. You don't really see it. It's there, you know it's there. But it keeps it's like out of sight, out of mind. So the toaster I don't mind keeping out because it is easier than grabbing out the appliance, I think, for kids. But if you have like mixers and blenders, things that you don't use all the time, put those away. But if you use them every day, leave them out. It's all about functionality and what works best for you in your home. Another area in your home where it can kind of accumulate and become messy is the dishes. The dishes. With a large family, you are going to find there's going to be a ton of dishes. So different tips I've done over the years is assigning 1 cup to one person. We would do a lot of water bottles when the kids were little. Otherwise, we were constantly washing cups. Now my kids are teenagers and I am older now too, and I don't like to have water bottles sitting on my countertop all the time. So I will allow multiple cups to be used. That's me personally, but you know what? We have a dishwasher, and so I don't mind putting them in the dishwasher every day to use that. So again, you're gonna have to do what works best for you in your home. There was a time that we had just enough plates so that every meal we had to wash our stuff. That cuts down on things too. If you just have a dish set for each person, well, you know what, when their plate is used up, well then you know what, we're gonna have to wash them to use them for the next meal. So it helps to even have less. I know it goes against the whole grain of having a lot, doesn't it? And then also doing the dishes right away. Sometimes it helps to have a little bowl in your sink full of waters, or like a pan, and then it gets washed right away when you're doing it. Also include people doing it in the chore rotation so that you're not the only one stuck doing dishes all the time, but maybe you have a lot of little ones and it might rest on you. So I would advise to have less. Get yourself some water bottles for everybody. It does make a world of difference. Another area that gets cluttered quickly is the plastic cupboard. Mine does as well, because we use a lot of plastic containers for storage of food in our freezer and in our refrigerator. So make sure that you go through that frequently and make sure that you have matching lids to your plastic containers. I've kind of weeded mine down to the ones that we really genuinely use and not having a lot of extra. So going through that, sometimes there is no rhyme or reason to like storage of plastic. My plastic, I'm like, we use a lot of those deli containers, and so we use them for freezing in the refrigerator, and I just have the lids all in a big giant bin. And so usually I'll go through it once in a while, maybe once a year, a couple times a year, and kind of weed out and see if I have enough containers for as many lids as I have, because those sometimes containers get broken, but we don't always throw a lid away. So going through updating that, I don't really have a solution for perfect plastic cupboard unless you have a ton of space and you're able to line it up perfectly, but I don't think the majority of us do. So do your best in that one. What is another reason our kitchens become over cluttered and just stressful is because we have too much stuff in our kitchen. Now, everything is going to vary in your home, but if you are just starting out, this is what I'm talking about. So my home right now, we have weeded out, we've decluttered, we've kind of gone through it. I kind of keep what I need, but I also have some extra things. And so I do YouTube. So guess what? I get a lot of gadgets and gizmos sent to me to try out to see if I like it. So not everybody has that. So this is going to be what works best for you. My mom, she was the queen of gadgets. So in her kitchen, she has got gadgets. Like I would be cutting an egg and or boiling, like doing the hard boiled eggs, and I'd go there and she'd like, oh, hold on a minute. She'd go in her little drawer. I think she watched a lot of QVC, and she'd pull out her little egg cutter that, you know, you can slice your eggs really well. Or she'd run and get that gadget for this or for that. And I'm like, she's got gadgets and gizmos for everything. So I have found that you really can do a whole lot with just a bare minimum in your kitchen. So this, again, what works for you and what you do. If you have a small family, if you have a large family, you're gonna have to adjust it based on what you do. So this list that I'm gonna share with you is a good way to start out, or a good way to maybe evaluate, do I really need that? Do I really use that in your home? Now, I've done different cookware over the years. We have gone through multiple pans. I don't know how many pans I bought over the years, because it's not just me cooking now. I have a lot of other people cooking in my home, and I did before too, but it was only like 1 or 2 at a time because they were such far apart in age. Well, now I've got a bunch of teenagers, so you know what? They all cook at different times, and they don't cook like they're supposed to all the time. So some burn your pans, some ruin your pans, and I've just had to go, okay, so what I've learned is stainless steel is best. Now, do I have all stainless steel? No. I've gotten different pans over the years based on like needs. Like I would get the non-stick pans because, you know what, I had kids cooking eggs and I got so tired of scraping eggs off the pans because they burn it all the time. So you know what, I get the non-stick kind, because it was easy for them and it didn't ruin the pans. It's just all about necessity at the time. But I found that the ones that last me the longest are my stainless steel pans. They may look a little worn and used over time, which they do, but I have been told that if you use Barkeeper's Friend on there, it helps keep them nice and shiny. But I do know that I've always been like, let's get a big box of, you know, you get the big pan set. And I've realized you don't really use all of those pans in your home. You don't. Our home here has a big stove. So here I use more pans because we have a really small microwave, and I do cook a lot on my stove. So I have more than I used to have, but in a normal size stove, you only have 4 burners. So you can only cook so much on your stove, right? You know, you can pretty much just do 2 big ones and maybe 2 small ones because of the way it fits. So the ones that I have used over the years that I found that are necessities is a large stock pot, because you want to make some soups in it. So I have a little bit bigger ones that if you're going to be doing multiple things, if you have a place to store it, like when I was using and making applesauce, I would make sure to get my big giant one. But we don't have those here in Florida, so I don't really have that big stock pot anymore. But I do have a little bit smaller size one that I can do soups and things in. So we have multiple, because I do make multiple things on my stove. But if you have one good big pan that you can do a soup in or boil pasta in, that's your key. And then if you have a frying pan, that works good for creating eggs and cooking meats, things like that. That works really well. And I also like the chicken fryers. I call them. They're about this tall, and they're about the size of a frying pan. So that works really well for like casseroles and things. If you didn't have the frying pan, you could do it in that chicken fryer as well. Simple and easy. If you do any other kind of cooking, a smaller saucepan works as well, but not a necessity. So think just a real big one, maybe a little bit medium-sized one, and then like either a frying pan or the chicken fryer. That's kind of like how basic you need to be. We have way more because I do a whole lot of cooking on my channel here, but those are pretty much down to, I'm getting older and I'm realizing, okay, do I really need all that stuff anymore? So I'm even weeding out on more and more of mine and just finding what's the bare minimum that I need. And then you need 2 good baking sheets. And so for myself, I like those air fryer ones. They're air fryer. I call them air fryer ones, not air fryer. The ones that have air, the insulated ones in between them, those work best for baking, I have found, where they don't burn your cookies. Don't keep the flat, like jelly roll style ones for cookies and stuff, because they're always going to burn, unless you use parchment paper. You can use parchment paper too. But the ones with the air in the middle, those work good for cookies, where you're not going to have to worry about, they don't have sides on them. That works good for cookie baking. I also like to have the jelly roll side ones that have a little bit of an edge on them for making like sheet pancakes or baking something in the oven. If you make fries or something like that, that works really good too. All the extras are just extras. You can make cupcakes and everything by using just the liners on the pan if you had to. But you know what? If you are going to learn to bake and you're going to do more and more, those are things you can accumulate over time. You can get a donut pan. You can get a muffin tin. I have a popover pan now. I have a little brownie pan, little mini muffin pan. Those are going to be things that you're going to accumulate over time as you are more in your kitchen. Look at Goodwill. You can find a whole lot there too, because most people get those and never use them. And you can find them there usually pretty inexpensive, just to kind of go, okay, this is something I use, and maybe you'll find that you don't really use those things. So, but the basics, just a couple cookie sheets. And then you're going to need a couple casserole pans, those 9x13 glass ones. Those work great. You're gonna need like 2 of those, because you can bake cakes in them. You can also just do casseroles in them, lasagnas, things like that. That works really good. So 2 good ones of those work really nice. I've used the glass ones for years. That's the only ones I have, and I've been using them. I've had some for 20 years, and they do get a little worn after a while, and so I've kind of now switched more just the white ones. But and they're a little bit deeper. That works good for our size family. But again, whatever works best for you in your home. I just like the little bit whiter ones. They're just a little bit, they don't scratch as easily as the glass do. But again, glass ones are everywhere. You can get them at Goodwill. That works good to have 2 long ones. I did accumulate some shorter ones, the square ones. I had those in the beginning and didn't really use them that much, so I think I've gotten rid of them. And then over the last few years, I'm like, I need some smaller pans, so I got some, but I find that we never even use them. So it's like one of those things that I pass those along, because it's like one of those things I don't really use. So the bigger ones work. I've found that you're usually cooking and making food, and you go, oh, I need this, this, and this, and kind of make a note of it and think, yeah, there's always something else you can use, but it will help you go, okay, do I really need it, or do I just need it that one time? Whatever's gonna work. And then invest in some good bread pans if you're gonna make bread. That's something I've done. We did the glass ones. You get the non-stick ones, but they're not that good, and you have to always replace them. If you get some good stainless steel ones, you're gonna pay a little bit more for them. But if you bake bread and you have it, you'll have them forever, which is really nice. So the nice shiny stainless steel ones work really good for long term. And then again, the muffin tins, you're gonna use, just get a small one for now. Get yourself a 12 one, and you can make eggs in it, little egg cups. You can do cupcakes, muffins, all those good things inside of there. And you'd be surprised with just a few items, all the meals that you can make from it. Like I said, it's gonna be trial and error and seeing what you need more of. But don't like just go, oh, I need a pan. I need to get this pan right now because I need it for this meal. No, think, is there something else I can use? And then you can really evaluate what is it you want. And then you can also invest in a better quality one versus just a cheapy one. We were guilty when we were first married to buy all the cheapy things, because you know what, you're paying for kids, it's expensive, right? So we bought a lot of cheapy things. And then I realized that, you know what, it's better to invest in the nicer things, wait for a little bit till you get the money, invest in the better quality things, because it lasts you a whole lot longer. Okay, for kitchen tools, for knives to start off with, you know what, if you have a good paring knife, you are good to go. I've used these, I just got them in the dishwasher for years. And if you invest in a good knife set, don't worry about buying the whole butcher block set that they sell for the countertops. A lot of it you will not even use. So I get a lot used because I'm doing a lot of cooking. I've had things sent to me, but what are my basics? What are the ones that I use all the time? I have a lot of these because they've lasted me over the years. These are Rada brand knives, and sharpen them, which works really good. So paring knives, you just need some good paring knives. These are great. I love these. I've been using these forever. I have multiple sizes. My favorite are just the small ones like this. They have one that if you do a lot of hand peeling, it's curved backwards. I really like that one, but mine has gotten lost over the years because of kids. This works right here. So you just need one good knife. You need a bread knife, the serrated edge bread knife, to cut through your bread without making it collapse. And then if you could get a bigger one, this is one, it's nice to have a bigger one, but it's one that you don't always use. You want a heavy duty one, not the thin blade one. The thin blade one's gonna bolt, but the heavier one is nice to have for like cutting some kind of meats and things like that. So when you don't have that, you wish you had a little bit heavier one. So this works. It's one that I don't use all the time, but if I don't have it, it's like, oh, how do you cut through that? So 3 knives, that's all you need. Measuring cups and spoons, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need the plastic ones. You can go get a set at the dollar store that have the measuring cups in there, and then measuring spoons that you need, and then also a glass one. Get yourself, if you had to choose between a 1 and a 2 cup, get yourself the 2 cup if you could. If you had to choose between 2 and 1, just a little bit bigger, and you can always mix a little bit more in there, but that's all you need. You'll have those for life. As far as mixing and cooking tools, get yourself a mixing bowl. One that's gonna work for you. I have multiple. I have a glass one, which is really nice, but my stainless steel are amazing. I love my stainless steel bowls. I think I have a set of 3 or 4. I like the rubbery on the bottom because they don't move around when you have them on your countertop. That works really nice. And then I have a little bit slightly larger one I got from Sam's Club, because we do have a large family and it works to like stir multiple things up. So having that little bit bigger bowl is nice for us, but if you're starting out small, the smaller ones work good. You don't need a ton of them, but I think I have a set of, like I said, it's these 3 or 4. That works good. You need 1 whisk, a spatula, and a wooden spoon or a spurtle. 1 spatula to scoop out and scrape out your bowls. I like the white ones. I don't even know what the brand name is. OXO. You can look on Amazon, or even Walmart will sell it. That just cleans really well. And then I like my spurtles instead of a wooden spoon. They're the long ones. Those are amazing. That's my favorite gadget, I think, for spoon wise in the kitchen. And then having 1 slotted spoon, having a pancake flipper, however that looks, a ladle, and a pair of tongs. That's all you need to start out in your cooking world. And then you're gonna need a colander. However kind, the collapsible ones are nice. They don't take up much space. Get a cutting board, either I've had the same plastic ones. They come in a 3-pack. I use those all the time. I think I'm down to like 2. And I have a cutting board, a wooden one too. That works nice, but I mostly go and grab the plastic ones just for ease. Give yourself a can opener. Can openers are, I feel like, the downfall in the kitchen. I have had multiple ones over the years. The electric ones, they've all failed. The hand ones, they get all rusty. I found the swing away ones. They're called swing away. They've got a bigger handle on them. That is the only can opener that for me has lasted for the longest period of time. And I've been doing this homemaking for a long time. There's not many things that I use just myself mostly that get worn out. Like, yeah, my kids use the pans and they use them, but if it was just me cooking in the pots and pans, they probably would last me forever. But the can opener, it doesn't matter. That thing will just get rusty and ruined or break. So the swing away, I think it's about $20 for it. You will have it forever, I promise. Now everything else is going to be a gizmo and a gadget. And do you need them? I don't know. It depends on what you want in your home. They've got lots of gizmos and gadgets. They have avocado slicers. They have these strawberry slicers. They have garlic presses. They have a lot of things you can purchase to make it easier, but you know what? A good knife works too. They have egg separators. They have everything, but you can use your hand, you can use the shell. Again, it's going to be one of those, what works best for you, and there's going to be some that you decide to keep and some that you don't decide to keep. Appliances are going to be another one of those. Do you need an ice cream machine? Do you need a panini press? Do you need a food processor? I don't know. It depends on what kind of things that you do in your home. I think on the list, I was looking at appliances that people don't use, and it's bread machines. If you go to Goodwill, you see bread machines everywhere, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that would be the #1 thing I would use. But starting out, probably not. So, but I know now in my stage of life, I really do enjoy using my bread machine, my dough maker of things. So again, don't go out and purchase things. If you just had a little handheld mixer, that'll get you far for a long time. And you will really see, like, again, and then those big giant ones, the KitchenAid ones, everybody shows they have. Start with a handheld one for 20 bucks and see how much baking and cooking you actually use, and then go out and get those things. That's gonna be your key. And if you got multiple things, pass it along to somebody. Now, what are some that are beneficial? I feel personally a crock pot, or even an Instapot is a great thing to invest in, because you can always put something in there. And especially if you're home as a homemaker, it's something you can throw in chicken in the morning or beef in the morning, and it can cook all day and it gets nice and tender. Or if you're busy, you can just throw something in there and have a whole meal by the end of the day. That's a good thing. So I think a slow cooker is a great investment. Handheld mixer is great because it doesn't take up a lot of space and it's inexpensive. The nice big mixers are a lot of money, and you could probably do just as good a job as the hand mixer, as long as you don't overfill your bowls. Keep it light, you'll be good. A good high quality blender is necessary as well. I had one in the mountains, and I think it either broke there or broke when I moved here. I used it for a long time because I do a lot of cooking, and I was having a lot of things to purchase when we moved here, and so I just was like, I'll just get any kind of blender. And I just bought the $40 blender on Amazon. Oh, no, don't even waste your money. I ended up returning it, and someone said get the Ninja Blender food processor combo. It was about $100. Game changer, well worth your investment. Don't even waste your time on the old school blenders. They just do not mix well. then I was also able to get the blender and the food processor and an individual one as well. So it's night and day difference. So don't even waste your time on the cheapy ones because they're not gonna work. Having a toaster is nice. You can live without a toaster. I went for many years because I didn't like having the toast everywhere to just like putting toast in the oven and toasting it that way, toast in a pan on the stove, however it works. Whatever you want to do, if you want to spend the money on the oven or just get a little toaster, even a toaster oven is nice for toast and different things. Again, it's based on what is best for you and your home. And if you're also trying to save money and don't really want to heat up your home with your big oven, you can get one of those, like an air fryer. Those are big, everybody's got those. But for smaller batches, that is actually more efficient than turning on your big giant oven. So again, do you need these things? No, you'll live without them. But I know when I had my teenagers, when they'd come home from work, they'd have their work schedule and they'd be tired and hungry. They'd like their fast food that they throw in the oven. Instead of putting the oven and heating up the whole entire house and making it warm, got the air fryer for them, and they were able just to throw their things in, and 10-15 minutes later, their meals were good. So again, depends on your situation in your home. So I've got 9 tips that have helped me run my kitchen efficiently over the years. One habit that's changed everything is having a quick 10-minute reset after every meal. That means everybody dives in. As soon as everybody's done, everybody cleans up the tables. Everybody takes the dishes, puts the food in the trash, and puts them in the sink. Somebody's cleaning up the food and putting it into containers and putting it away. Someone's wiping up the countertops. Somebody's making sure the floor is clean. Somebody's pushing the chairs into the table. 10 minutes, that's all it takes after every single meal. It's much easier for everybody to disappear from the table and leaving everything a mess for everybody else. But if everybody stays, 10 minutes, that's all it takes. It's done. It's way easier on you as a mom. And number 2, the one-touch rule. Put things away immediately. You know how clutter happens? It's because you get things, you set it down. You grab something, it just gets sit on the counter, and then things accumulate over time. If you have the one-touch rule, it eliminates this. When your mail comes in, I grab it right away. Usually the kids set it down, I grab it, I go over to right by the trash can, I throw away, throw away, throw away. What I don't need, what I do need, I put where it needs to go. If you're taking out ingredients from your cabinet, you're doing a bunch of baking, okay, as soon as you're done, put all that away. If you're pouring a cup of coffee, and you put your creamer in there, put your creamer back in the refrigerator, right where it belongs. They're small little things, but they do help to not accumulate to a bunch of clutter over time. Third way is having a nightly kitchen reset. There's nothing worse than waking up to your kitchen to a mess. It makes your days more stressful before you even started. So do a 5-minute nightly reset. That means load everything in your dishwasher. And if you don't want to turn it on at night, I leave mine usually, and then in the morning someone always throws a dish in the sink, so then in the morning I load it up and I turn it on. So like right now my dishwasher is going. Wipe down your countertops, your stove, and dishwasher. Everything's wiped off so it's fresh for the day. If you got a full trash can, have someone take it out. And then if you need to, do a final sweep for any crumbs on the floor, anything that needs to be picked up and put away. It's not about deep clean, it's just about doing a quick sweep, 5 minutes through everything, and then it's clean and ready for your start. You don't have to do a deep clean. Just leave the kitchen looking fresh so you wake up feeling ahead, not behind. And number 4 is a weekly pantry refrigerator checkup. How many times have you bought food and you realize, oh, I already had one in my cupboard? I do that a lot. How many times do you go to the refrigerator and go, oh, we didn't eat this up, and you have to throw it away? It happens a lot. So going in each week, have a day that you choose, whatever day you want, and go through your refrigerator every Sunday. Choose Sunday, go through it and look through your refrigerator and see, is there anything in here that needs to be eaten up this week? If you've got older food, move it to the front so it gets used up. And then look in your pantry real quick to see if there's anything that needs to be restocked. And just doing those simple things takes 5 minutes, but going through it will help you not have to waste food and gather and use things that you have. And number 5 is cooking smarter, not harder. Meal prep and batch cooking. Now, being a stay-at-home mom and cooking 3 meals a day can feel like a lot. So there's a lot of channels, a lot of advice on how to do batch cooking and freezer meals. Take advantage of that and learn some of those. And that might be just something as simple as when you get all your vegetables, cut them all up and prepare them for the week. Maybe that's make a big batch of rice or beans or shredded chicken for your meals for the week, or portion some of the chicken out and freeze it for another time. And that might also mean taking snacks and putting them in individual containers so they can just grab and go for your family. And use that freezer wisely. Freeze leftovers in single portions so that nothing goes to waste. You can grab it out and have a bunch of freezer meals heated up as leftovers one night. You can make double batches of meals when you're cooking and then freeze one for a later day. And anytime you get leftover produce that you don't use, chop it up, put it in a bag, store it in the freezer for some soups or for making stock. Number 6, make the kitchen a family effort. If you've got kids, they make a mess. So your husband might be working at his job, so he's got to worry about work. If he can't help you, don't be complaining. Just know that that's your job. You just do it and get it done. But include your children to help. Children of all ages can do things to help in the kitchen. Find what's age appropriate. And sometimes it's a little bit more work. I get it. So keep it simple for them, for things that they can do. But if it's the older ones, they can handle things and helping you cleaning and doing things in the kitchen. Number 7, do a Sunday reset. Start your week off right. Every Sunday, choose that day and reset it for the week. I do reset Mondays, and that's starting my week out knowing what I have in my kitchen for my home for the week. That means that I plan my meals for the week. I restock any pantry staples that I need. Maybe my flour needs to be transported into my other one. Maybe fill my salt and pepper shaker, that kind of thing. Restocking things that we'll need. Wiping out my fridge and taking inventory of what I have. And maybe I'm taking and decluttering one drawer at a time. One drawer at a time. If you're not following my Tuesday, maybe you're just doing one and going through it to making it clean. Those little habits make a big difference over time. 8 is keeping cleaning supplies accessible and easy to use. You don't need 10 different little cleaners for your kitchen to work properly. I promise you, a little bit of soap and water will do a world of difference. I like to do my own cleaner of vinegar, and there's nothing wrong with buying stuff at the store, but if you want to save some money, save some money. So get yourself a gallon of vinegar. You can infuse vinegar. I have just done this recently at my older age. I used to just use vinegar and water. That's how we cleaned everything, with nothing in it. Kids were like, it smells like vinegar. I'm like, yeah, but it's inexpensive, it works. Then I discovered essential oils. Essential oils in there made it smell a little bit nicer, but then you have to pay for those as well. So then I started using orange peels and putting it in there and infusing it. It makes it smell so much nicer. So just use that with a little bit of water and disinfect and clean things in your kitchen. Make sure you've got your dish soap, make sure you've got your scrubbies. You don't need all the fancy gadgets, but finding one that works for you and go with it. I used to have sponges, and I never liked having the sponges because I feel like they got so dirty and I throw them in the microwave over time. I've discovered the scrub mommies, and I really like those. Those last me, but I still have to accumulate and use those and throw those away over time. So having whatever works for you best in your home for cleaning. You can just use a wash rag, works as well too. You're also gonna need a trash can that doesn't overflow daily. So if it's too small, get yourself a bigger one. When we had a lot of kids, we had a regular outside garbage can in our kitchen. Greatest thing I could have done, because we had to empty it probably every day. But the smaller ones, we had to empty twice a day, and that was the worst. We're now down to a normal size family one, but the bigger one worked good for our size family. I thought that's the best thing we could have ever purchased, was an outdoor trash can in the kitchen. So now they have like the outdoor ones that you put on your decks. We've had one of those too, and I think it's Ketter's, the company puts them out, and they look a little more decorative. That works, but it's just as big as the old black school trash can. So having a trash can is good. Get yourself a broom and dustpan or a little vacuum that goes in your kitchen to clean up as well. And skip the paper towels unless you want to do that. I have some, but using a rag every single day works well, wiping down your counter. I like my microfiber cloths. I invested in those, and every day we wash them and use them, and then I have a new one to wipe things down, and I feel like that gets everything nice and fresh and clean. And enough hand towels, because if we're not using paper towels, hand towels work. And number 9, if you have the no overnight mess, sometimes that's hard to implement when you have multiple people in your home, but if you can enforce it a little bit, do that. That's a quick 3-step process. Load your dishwasher at night, wipe down the counters and sinks, and sweep up any crumbs. Even on your most tired nights, if you do that, you'll wake up in a whole lot better mood, I promise. Remember, for all this, it's all about small habits make a big difference. Your kitchen doesn't need to feel overwhelming. You just need to have a few simple routines that you implement to help cut down on that stress. So find what doesn't work for you. Find out in your kitchen while you're cooking, when you're running around all crazy, okay, do I need to group things together in my kitchen to make it less crazy? Maybe that's something you need to do. Where you wake up every morning, you're stressed out, okay, maybe you need to implement the nighttime rule of cleaning up so it's not so overwhelming. I don't know what's gonna work best for you, but you'll get to decide for your home. So I hope today's video was informative for you. So you, as the new homemakers coming into society, that's a beautiful, beautiful and very great task. So I hope it's given you some encouragement, maybe some insights, things you're gonna pick and choose and do what's best for you. Just know that you can start out by having just a little bit of stuff and doing just fine in your kitchen. So don't watch videos where they've got all the aesthetic looking things. There's nothing wrong with striving to have that, but don't make that your focus. Make what you have, what your husband and you can provide at that time for your home, and you do your best. That's the normal part of life. That's the normalcy of America. So start out where you're at. You're gonna start out way less than your parents. You're gonna start out way less not having all the big things like everybody else, but you start out where you're at, get those basic supplies, and then you'll be able to move forward in your days. And as life progresses, you're gonna see what works and what doesn't work. You're gonna fail, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna find things that work better, you're gonna find more tips that's gonna help somebody else, and then you know what, when you're older, you can look back and you can share a few things to help someone, that next generation. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Maybe I've given you some things to think about. I know I've given myself something to think about. My pot and pans, I'm gonna move those. So before I go, I just want to give you some encouragement. Just know that you are doing an amazing job. Keeping a home is no small task. It is looked down upon for working women, and they may look down at you and say you don't do anything all day. Like, we know that's not true. I know how much I run in my home from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, and it is longer than if I had a 9-to-5 job that I was working at. I know this, and I know this is a fact. So don't let people tell you any different. Every little thing that you do matters in your home. Every meal prepared, every dish that you wash, every time you create a new order in your home, it's a small act of love. And even on those hard days, remember, you don't have to have this all perfectly figured out. You just have to keep going one step at a time. It's not about perfection. It's not about having the perfect looking kitchen. It's about creating that peaceful, wonderful time. I've been in many homes that have been spotless and clean and not felt very welcomed in that home. But I've been in some untidy, not kept up homes, and you know what? I felt more at peace and more friendly, and like I just wanted to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them for the entire day. So it's about creating that peaceful atmosphere in your home, a place where your family loves to be, where they thrive, where they enjoy, where it's comforting. That's the kind of environment you want to create. So give yourself grace and trust the process, and know that God sees your efforts, and I'm cheering you on. I'm excited for you in your new adventure. So you have a fantastic rest of your day. Next Thursday, we'll cover another area in the home. Have a beautiful day. I'll see ya. Bye. Oh, I forgot. Go below. There's a bunch of freebies for you. An excerpt from this book and a bunch of free little checklists and tips that maybe you'll be able to help for your kitchen. So, all right, we'll see ya. Bye.